A seismic shift is underway in global trade, and it's happening right on America's doorstep. Today, October 25, 2025, Canada and China have finalized a historic trade agreement, dubbed the Golden Deal. This pact directly links Canada's vast resources with China's enormous market, signaling a bold move away from U.S. dependence. Years of secret negotiations in cities like Vancouver and Shanghai have led to this moment. The deal covers agriculture, energy, technology, and investment, redefining global power dynamics. For Canada, it's a declaration of economic independence and a strategic pivot to new partners. For China, it's a major step in securing resources from a reliable G7 nation, strengthening its global influence. The announcement has sent shockwaves through international markets. The Canadian dollar surged, while American exporters to China now face uncertainty. Washington was caught off guard, left scrambling to assess the impact. The Golden Deal isn't just about trade. It's about redrawing the economic map of North America. For nearly a century, the U.S. has dominated regional trade. Now, the world is watching as Canada and China forge a new path. The U.S. suddenly finds itself on the outside, looking in. How did this happen? Why was the U.S. left in the dark? These questions echo through Congress and the White House. The Golden Deal marks a turning point in global alliances. The balance of power is shifting, and the consequences are only beginning to unfold. So, what's in the Golden Deal? At its core, resources for access. Canada guarantees China oil, natural gas, and agricultural products for 20 years, making China the top buyer of Canadian wheat, canola, and pork. In return, Canadian tech and manufacturing firms get preferential access to China's vast market, with lower tariffs and fewer barriers. China commits $200 billion to Canadian infrastructure, pipelines, ports, and railways to speed exports to Asia. The deal establishes joint research hubs for green energy and AI, aiming for collaboration, not just competition. Environmental standards are built in. New pipelines must use advanced leak detection, and China adopts Canadian food safety protocols. For Canada, it's a leap into next-generation tech and stable markets. For China, it's a secure supply and a Western partner for innovation. For decades, Canada's economy was tied to the U.S. Over 70% of exports went south. America First policies exposed Canada's vulnerability, prompting a push for diversification. The Golden Deal is the boldest move yet, negotiated in secret to avoid U.S. interference. The benefits are huge. Farmers in Saskatchewan now have a guaranteed buyer for their wheat, and Alberta's energy sector gains stability and jobs. The deal is projected to add over 2% to Canada's GDP annually. It's a moment of national pride. Canada is no longer just America's quiet neighbor. The Prime Minister declared, "Our economic destiny is now in our own hands." Canadians are celebrating a new era of independence. The world sees Canada as a global player, forging powerful alliances. The Golden Deal is a statement. Canada can stand on its own, and it's just the beginning. For China, the Golden Deal is a strategic triumph. It secures a stable supply of energy and resources from a developed, reliable partner, reducing dependence on unstable regions. The deal weakens the traditional Western alliance, showing countries can partner with both the U.S. and China. Chinese officials hailed it as a model for a new era of cooperation. Beyond resources, China gains access to Canadian expertise in AI, quantum computing, and agriculture. Joint research hubs will accelerate China's shift from manufacturing to innovation. The agreement's environmental and safety standards help improve China's global image. By adopting Canadian protocols, China counters criticism and becomes a more attractive partner. The Golden Deal could become a template for future agreements worldwide. China's influence is expanding and the world is taking notice. In Washington, the Golden Deal landed like a thunderbolt. U.S. officials were blindsided. There was no warning, no chance to intervene. The economic fallout is immediate. American farmers and energy producers face losing billions in exports to China. Iowa corn growers and Texas oil producers now compete with Canada's preferential access. The U.S. Energy Information Administration estimates $30 billion in annual losses for the energy sector alone. Workers and communities across the Midwest and oil states are bracing for impact. The shock is political too. Congress demands answers. Why did Canada turn away? Did U.S. policies push them? Emergency hearings are scheduled. The pressure is on to explain what went wrong. The Golden Deal exposes a vulnerability in America's economic strategy. For decades, the U.S. took its trade dominance for granted. Now, it faces the reality of being left out. The loss is more than economic. It's a blow to American influence. The US must rethink its alliances and approach to global trade. The world is moving on, and America must decide how to respond. The Golden Deal is a wake-up call. The old order is shifting. And the US is no longer at the center. The consequences will be felt for years to come. The Golden Deal's impact is global. Countries like Brazil and Argentina are rethinking their own trade strategies, eyeing similar deals with China. Traditional US allies in Europe and the Pacific see Canada's move as proof that deeper ties with China are possible without breaking from the West. The deal may inspire a wave of independent policies among middle powers. International organizations like the WTO and IMF are forced to adapt as major economies make their own rules. The dominance of the US dollar and American influence is under threat. America First policies have opened the door for China to step in. The US risks isolation if more partners follow Canada's lead. The Golden Deal is a warning. America can't take its allies for granted. To stay relevant, the US must rebuild trust and offer a compelling alternative. The world is entering a new, multipolar era. The rules of global trade are being rewritten. The future for Canada, China, and the US is uncertain and full of opportunity. Canada must balance economic gains with political complexities, managing both its new partnership and its relationship with the US. China will try to replicate this success globally, but must prove it can be a responsible partner. The world will watch if China delivers on environmental and labor promises. For the US, this is a moment of reckoning. Will it respond with protectionism, risking a trade war, or rebuild alliances and compete on ideas and values? The choices made now will shape the global landscape for decades. The Golden Deal marks the end of US-centric trade. A new, multipolar world is emerging. Canada has made a bold bet. China has solidified its role, and the US must find its place. The story is just beginning.